Don, would I not inherit the kingdom if I lie sometimes? Like, I don't always tell the truth, and sometimes I lie, even though I'm trying to be honest. Kelvin, I wouldn't put that in the same category of you being intentionally deceptive, right? Yes, it is still a sin, and you still should ask for forgiveness for it. But if you're talking about knee-jerk reactions to small things, like someone asks you if the food is good, she asked you, do I look fat in this dress? you know uh you know just those little knee-jerk things where you just did it out of convenience, whether because you're trying to avoid an awkward situation, or you're trying to be polite, or you're just trying to get out of the conversation quickly, or not allow the conversation to go down the road you don't want it to go down. Or you know I put that in a different category of you being intentionally deceptive, bearing false witness, trying to give someone false information for the sake of, giving yourself some kind of an advantage in the situation. That is a completely different kind of lie. And those are the lies that are perpetrated by, as they call them, what do you call them? People, compulsive liars. If you're a compulsive liar, you're not born again. If you're somebody who goes out of your way to lie, to hide things, to deceive, this is the evidence. But you still need to repent of this like white lie thing that you may do from time to time. That needs to stop as well. Okay, that is not something you need to repent of. But no, I wouldn't say that you should necessarily come to the conclusion that you're not born again because you tell the occasional white lie. Again, if we're talking about things that aren't really serious, in the moment, kind of like you didn't even think about it. It was just, I think that's a different category. Still sin, but not the same. Just like how losing your temper is still a sin, right? Getting impatient with someone is still a sin. These are not sins that indicate that you're not born again. These are sins that indicate that you are, a fallen creature that is still undergoing the process of sanctification. So, but it's completely different from intentionally trying to deceive people with untruths. Are we really trying though? When we slip up, we almost always leap right in knowingly. Like you can't masturbate and say, oops. It's like it's like an accident, but you can lie out of panic. Lying is like a viper, quick. Yeah, exactly. Like you lying out of, being in a panic situation. And also I've changed my position on the fact that there are times where you can go against the letter of the law in a righteous fashion. For instance, you hear a knock at your door. It's your neighbor, is a woman, and she is running from her abusive husband. And says, he's trying to kill me. Hi, please, can I come inside? And you let her in. Then 5 minutes later, you hear a knock at your door. Oh, hey, you seen my wife? What do you do? What do you say? Now, you could tell him the truth and be like, yeah, she's inside my house. But no, I'm not letting you in. And then you can deal with that altercation, wherever that goes. Or you could be like, nah, I ain't seen her. I'll let you know. And you call the cops or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You didn't stick to the letter of the law, but that's no different than when the spies, right? The spies went into the land of, what was the land? This is talking about the harlot. What was her name? Was it Rahab? where the harlot hid the Israelite spies when men were seeking to kill them. And she was considered righteous and faithful to God. And she lied to the men who are trying to find and kill these Israelite spies. In God's eyes, she was doing a righteous thing. Rahab, you know. So, you know, fighting against, let's say you're a cop in the middle of a shootout. You have to protect the community. You have to neutralize the threat. Say you're in the military, you're fighting against terrorists, and they're blowing up innocent children and people, and you got to take out the threat. There are instances where killing is righteous. David and Goliath, exactly. What about lying for the sake of telling jokes? Nah, that falls into what we read in, was it Ephesians chapter 5? Or was it chapter 3? Obscene and foolish talking or crude joking are not suitable, but rather giving thanks. So, yeah, you don't need to lie. Now, you know, if you're talking about a very playful, innocent kind of joke, like you're talking about, you know, your wife sent you to the grocery store to buy, you know, 4 items, right? She's cooking something. She realized she doesn't have these items. And she's like, babe, can you run to the store and get these 4 items? And then you put the items in 2 bags and you left 1 bag in the car. You didn't realize. And you only brought into 1 bag. And she opens it and she sees 3 out of the 4 items. And she's like, oh, babe, didn't you get the butter? And then you're like, you know, you got the butter. You just realize you must have left it in the car. And you just do this. You know, guys do this kind of stuff. And you're like, man, I forgot the butter. And she's like, babe, what do we need the butter for the thing? And then you're like, nah, I'm kidding. I got the butter. You go get it out of the car. Like that, I think that's nothing, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing. But if we're talking about, you know, if you're talking about some, you know, you're gonna be hurting somebody with the joke, or if it turns into crude language, you know what I'm saying? If it turns into stuff like that, then yeah, crude joking. That's why he doesn't say joking. He doesn't say foolish talking or joking are not suitable. He says crude joking. So a light, innocent, playful joke, you know, something that you would do with your friends or families, right? You know, me and Chris, you know, we crack jokes on each other all the time, you know, and Chris is you know, it's Italian from New Jersey. He cracks jokes, you know what I'm saying? And I'm Jamaican, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think you can still crack men like a joke, like with the boys, like those kind of jokes too. But just there's a limit though. You can't crack jokes where you're talking about sexually immoral things. You know, the kind of jokes you would have cracked in the locker room in high school. Those kinds of jokes you don't do. So it's okay to sin sometimes then? Well, it's not okay to sin sometimes. It's just that sometimes things that you would regard as sins in other situations aren't always a sin in every situation. Like, I don't think you sinned when you lied to that wife-beating neighbor looking for his wife whom you're sheltering in your home. I don't think you sinned in that situation. You get what I'm saying? So it's not that it's okay to sin sometimes. It's just that sometimes what we would normally regard as sin may not be sin. Sometimes there's a gray area. Sometimes there's nuance. And did you see my photo I sent you on Skype? That was a good one. I saw it when I was looking at the verses. I was looking for the verses showing that there are multiple gods. I saw that. I was like, this guy.